Right, let's rock and roll.
Let's do it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to a podcast that me, Lee Simmons, and this other guy, Matt Waterhouse, have decided to put out there.
Whoa.
What a fantastic intro. So this is Big Talk. It's a concept that I found on the internet where this girl would just ask random strangers what they wanted to do before they die. Morbid, I know, but it was a good concept. And then, so, bit of backstory. Me and Matt have known each other for a long time. Too long, some would say.
Oh, hi, I'm Matt, by the way. Hello. The audio dropped slightly for me, but I'm here. Hello.
And so, yeah, as we know each other quite well, the small talk about how's your dog, how's your life, how's your wife, is a bit boring for us, isn't it, Matt? We've done that before.
Well, particularly as my wife is imaginary and not real.
And I don't have a dog, so.
Yeah.
So instead of all of this boring small talk, we just ask each other big questions.
We do indeed.
That we have no real sort of real position or any kind of education on, but it's fun to do. And
it's fun to kind of try and puzzle through these things.
Yeah, exactly.
When you have pretty much no background or education on the subject, it's fun to kind of puzzle through.
It's like pub talk, isn't it?
That's exactly what it is.
Quintessential pub talk.
Exactly.
Coming to you through the internet. So we've both been thinking of doing like podcasts and things before because we're creative individuals in some shape or form. And we decided to bring it to the masses and see if if people enjoy it, and B, if people think we're talking bollocks. That'd be interesting as well.
Well, the second one is true.
It's definitely
we
true.
Are absolutely talking bollocks. But we'll see if people enjoy that. And we've got we've got our first topic lined up today.
So what we do each week, either Matt or myself will ask the other one a question, and then we will discuss that question and go off on a bit of a tangent, probably for about an hour.
Most likely.
This will act as our seed of conversation, and then we'll talk for an hour, and then we'll let you get on with your day. How's that sound?
That sounds fantastic to me.
Fantastic. Okay. So we had a practice of this last week, but it didn't really work, and I did that question. So it's Matt's turn now. He was gracious enough to give me a couple of days' notice on what this question was, which I think was too kind, really, because I didn't give him any indication as to what the question was last time, and dropped the save the world bombshell on him.
Yes, dropped how do we save the world on me. Yeah, all about climate change, etc. And almost in response to that, the weather in Tokyo, where I am right now, got really, really shit. Like almost in response. Like yesterday, it rained all day. With the rainy season maybe starting a month early. I hope it isn't, but it might be. So there's that.
Yeah,
it's supposed to rain today as well. So
bloody climate.
Yeah, go. Where's Greta? Get Greta.
Greta.
But yeah, I came up with the topic today, and I'll preface it a little bit.
Okay.
So this is a conversation that has been raging for probably about a year and a half.
Okay.
On YouTube, at least.
Okay.
And it's a really interesting topic that people seem to be kind of talking past each other a bit on.
Okay.
And I thought we could. Well, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens when we talk about it.
Okay.
But about a year and a half ago, a movie was released in the cinema. Cool. I don't know if people know about it. It's kind of obscure. Star Wars. And it was, people might know about it because it was the 8th one. It was called The Last Jedi, I think. Jedi, is that how you say it?
Jedi?
Jedi.
Jedi?
Yeah. Jedi. The Last Jedi. That's
The
what.
last,
Yes,
the
that's
last
it.
Jedi. That's it.
Yes, Star Wars: The Last Jedi, and it ruffled some feathers, and it gave rise to a lot of people on YouTube talking about objectivity and subjectivity in art, particularly in film. Because a lot of people were saying that it was an objectively bad movie.
Okay.
So provably bad, basically.
Okay.
And I thought that's interesting because, well, we'll discuss.
Yeah.
And I decided, I think if we did it with movies, I think it would be quite easy.
Yeah.
Because I think you can get, well, we'll get into it, but I think we can get an objectively bad movie.
And
I've seen movies.
And I think you're objectively wrong on that.
Oh.
And I'll tell you why.
Oh. Well, hang on. Let's get to the question. And then we'll get into it.
Okay.
So, and then we can kind of clarify what we mean exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, can art, I expanded this to art just to make it extra deep.
Yeah.
Can art be objectively bad?
Probably not.
Interesting.
Probably not. I'm going to go back to your film thing. I reckon films can't be objectively bad.
We've seen. I would agree with you, but we've seen Sharktopus, Lee.
Exactly. This is my case in point. Sharktopus is a shit but good film. How long has that film stayed with us? Where he wanted a big, massive glass of scotch.
I think there's a yeah. I want a big, massive glass of scotch.
I mean, that line in itself is objectively bad. That is an objectively bad line of dialogue.
Absolutely.
However, it raised an emotion in us, which was revulsion to that.
Yes.
But humor as well. It was hilarious that they actually got that into a film. How on earth that got through producers and directors and everything like that is beyond me, and it's hilarious.
Now, I'm not sure that those movies are necessarily the best case study, because like all of those kind of films made by the Asylum, like Sharktopus, Sharknado, I think we're up to like Sharknado 8 or something like that.
Pretty sure they did their last one. I think there was a last chapter of Sharknado.
Oh, they've stopped it?
I believe so.
Good grief.
I'm going to double check this. I'm going to fact check. We don't want to be wrong.
That's the main thing. Sharktopus is I called it Sharktopus. Sharknado is important to a lot of people, and we don't want to mess that up. So yeah, please fact check that, because I'll feel bad if we get that wrong.
From what I can see, they got up to 6. The 6th film concluded in 2018. It's since been expanded into video games and comics, including a spin-off film, Sharknado: Heart of Sharkness, that was released in 2015. Now, if YouTube is correct, the last film was Sharknado 6, Shark versus T-Rex.
Okay. Well, here's the thing about those movies. I'm not sure they're the best case study when talking about this, because they are made to be bad. They're not made to be good.
Okay.
They're made to be cringy. So that line, big massive glass of scotch, fits the purpose.
Okay.
Like you're not going to find that in something that a major studio releases intentionally.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that was intentional that they did that.
Okay.
So as sort of is defined, I don't know if they are objectively bad.
Yeah.
I think they're objectively kind of offensive, because they're making something that's supposed to be bad and supposed to have like lowest common denominator cringe to it. But I don't think you could necessarily call them objectively bad. And here's the thing, like this, the Last Jedi, was it? Sorry, not Jedi. It was Jedi. The Last Jedi.
The J silent.
Okay. Oh, the last
Eddie.
The Last Eddie. Well, yeah, The Last Eddie. It's not a movie I like, but I wouldn't necessarily call it objectively bad either when you take everything into account. It's certainly very bad in some areas.
Can I preface my answer with a question to you, Matt?
Please do.
Okay, so in order to work out if art can be objectively bad, we need to understand what the purpose of art is.
Indeed.
So what is the purpose of art?
Well, it's to make you, for me, I would say art is, it's there to make you think about stuff and feel stuff.
Okay.
And yes, that would be my answer.
So you're
think about stuff, feel stuff.
Two things at the purpose of art is
it's to ask questions.
Okay. So to communicate ideas.
Sure. Yeah.
Communicate ideas. To generate emotions of some kind. Some will, I imagine that like there would be some amount of art that is purely for an aesthetic purpose.
Okay, sure.
Beauty and things like that. More for like other mediums of art, I imagine there's like exploring like perception and perspectives and things like that. Yeah, so that's what I think art is. I think that's your art has to fall into one of those sort of categories, either communicating an idea, whether that be like a political one, because you've probably got a lot of that at the moment with different waves of ists at the moment. You know, you can have like
in this post-truth world.
Yep. Philosophical questions and things like that. That would be sort of an idea in them. Then you've got the sense of beauty, just looks nice. It can be objectively or subjectively beautiful. Maybe that's a whole different topic. That's a philosophical topic. Exploring perceptions and perspectives and things like that, and then to generate a strong emotion. Okay.
So can I ask you something now?
Of course you can.
So those are all like categories, right? Those are some those are some criteria you've laid out. Are those objective criteria?
I think if they were to fulfill one of those purposes of art, I don't think you could call them bad.
Oh, so for art to be objectively bad, hang on. So let me Kathy Newman you here for a second.
I don't know what that means, but okay.
So you're saying that art is only objectively bad if it doesn't do any of that?
I would say so, because then it has no. There would be no reason for it to be. There'd be no like kind of purpose behind it.
Then it has no purpose. Okay, that's interesting. Because I think with film, because there's a lot of different types of art, I think it's more clear cut with some than with others. Like I don't think. I think if you go to a gallery, like just a paint, I think with art, like painting wise, I think it's way more difficult to say something's objectively bad, based on what you've just said, and kind of based on just sort of how I feel about it. I don't think it's. I think it depends on what the point of it is as well.
Yeah.
Like if I painted a, let's say I had a canvas and I painted a stick man on it. And it had like a terrible wibbly wobbly smiley face on it. And I said, this is a self-portrait. It would not be good. It would indeed be objectively bad.
Okay, let me qualify what I said more then.
Yeah.
So we've got those four sort of categories of art: communicating ideas, being beautiful, perception or perspective, generating emotion. Now, I think I need to backtrack on what I said, that as long as it fulfills one of those four criteria, it can't be bad. I think it could be bad if what you have done as the artist in looking at these four criteria, not even, consciously looking at these, but sort of the idea behind you doing your stick figure with a wibbly wobbly smiley face. And you looked at these four criteria and were asked, right, what did you want to do with this art? Did you want to communicate an idea with it? Yes or no? and what that idea that was. I guess you could go further. Was it to be beautiful? Was it to explore a certain, like the nature of perception or a different perspective on something, or was it to generate an emotion? Now, if you had qualified them in any of those 4 categories and it didn't fulfill that, then I reckon it would be bad.
Okay, so it would be intention.
I
So
guess
if I
so,
said I intended my stick man to look exactly to be an accurate self-portrait of me.
So we're
So
looking
it would
at
be
like the beauty then, aren't we? Really?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
This is an aesthetic category of communication. That's your aim.
Yeah.
Okay.
However, if I said this is a self-portrait of me, but it's a self-portrait of I'm trying to think of like a wanky art way of saying it. Like it's like a self-portrait of my inner self or something like that.
Okay. Do you believe
then
this as the artist?
Then it gets a bit, well, let's say that that's what I intended. Then it gets a bit wibbly wobbly and a bit murky.
Then I think it's the authenticity of your words, really, isn't it? Because if you're being, as you say, you know, a wanky art person in saying and just being like just bullshitting us, basically. Then you've still not made good art. But if that's what you truly, truly believe, and you've spoken authentically, and this is an authentic, that's the authentic reason behind your piece, then I think we're going to have a harder time saying it's bad.
Okay, so let's go back to the first thing where it's supposed to be like an accurate self-portrait of me.
Yeah.
Let's say I do that, and I've painted it, and it's sort of just sitting there, and I'm doing something next to it, and someone comes along and goes, "Did you paint that?" I'm like, yeah, but yeah, I did, yeah. And they're like, "Oh, that's kind of incredible." I'm the manager of. I know this sounds crazy, but I'm the manager of a gallery, and I want to put it up because I think this just really speaks to me. What is it exactly? And I go, "Oh, it's a self-portrait," and they go, "That's brilliant. I'm putting it in my gallery."
Yeah.
And they buy it off me for X amount.
Yeah.
It goes in a gallery. It gets rave reviews. Now, at that point, it's like sort of out of my hands.
I have one
Is
question
it objectively
for you on this.
bad then?
Where the fuck were you sitting at this point when a gallery owner was able to walk past you with your painting and go, "This is amazing"? Do you carry it around with you just during the day?
I'm homeless in this situation. I'm homeless, playing the diddly bow on the streets, playing the blues
with your picture.
With my picture, yeah. With my picture. It's going to be my CD cover.
Okay. So on a more serious note, though, now we know that you're...
On a more serious note.
So now it's out of your hands. How is it out of your hands?
Well, it's not about what I intended anymore. It's now about what other people are getting out of it.
Then
now, other people, let's say other people are really, really, really loving it. But they're getting something out of it that I didn't necessarily intend. Is the art still objectively bad?
I don't think so, because then you've gone into the realms of subjectivity, haven't you?
Yes, but subjectively good is not objectively good.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm agreeing with you.
Those are two different things.
I'm agreeing with you.
So
once it's out of your hands, I don't think that's their problem. That's subjectively not bad.
Right.
Fuck the haters. Fuck the praisers. It's their problem.
Right.
You did your wibbly wobbly, man. You failed as an artist.
And it made me millions.
And
it made me millions.
Yeah.
I painted it in shit because I couldn't afford paint. Because I'm homeless, playing the diddly bow.
Because you're a homeless bum.
Yeah. And it made millions. And I can afford a new box.
And he buys
So
a paint box.
A really nice box.
Yeah.
Like really nice.
Yeah. Best box ever.
I invest the rest of it in unwisely.
Yeah.
I buy stocks in something stupid.
Shit paint.
I start my own company, yeah.
You should start your own shit paint company. Jesus. This is a horrible
It's renewal.
Hey. Like, absolutely terrible.
Absolutely. Well, so yeah, okay. So let's think. Okay, so let's carry on with that a little bit. Not the shit paint, but the wibbly wobbly man.
Wibbly wobbly.
So now, subjectively, people are enjoying it, right?
Uh-huh.
So people are getting something out of it that I didn't necessarily intend.
Uh-huh.
But that thing that they're getting out of it is still there.
Mm-hmm.
It's there somewhere in this picture, wibbly wobbly man painted in shit. It's there somewhere. This thing that they're getting out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, even if I didn't intend to put that thing in there, or I didn't know that thing was going in there, there's a question mark at the end of this somewhere, but I'm not sure where it is.
Well, I think then
like,
it's because then we're going into subjectivity, aren't we? Because art can be good and bad, and that's probably, I imagine, what happened with The Last Eddie. I didn't see it. I fell asleep. I fell asleep through the 7th one, like in the fight scene somehow. I must have just been tired. I must have absolutely been knackered when I went into that cinema, and I didn't see the 8th one. I saw the trailer for the 9th one the other day. That looked okay, but I don't really understand what's happening now. It's called The Last Skywalker, and is she a Skywalker? Actually, don't tell me. Spoiler alert.
I don't know. I think I don't know. I think it's all bait. I think that's purely bait. Like the title. I think like what they've done. The Last Jedi. Oh, Jedi! It's Jedi. It's not Eddie. Bloody Jedi, isn't it? Good Lord. Jedi. Indeed. That's it. The Last Jedi it ruffled enough feathers that they're going like, we can't afford this to fail. So we need to bait. We need as much bait in this as possible. They killed, if you haven't seen The Last Jedi, well, I mean, if you haven't seen The Last Jedi, you're probably not going to see The Last Jedi now.
Yeah.
But just in case, spoiler alert, spoiler.
Jesus.
Oh God.
So this is a completely audio podcast. What happened on the video was Matt said spoiler, and then I think hit his camera in rage, and it fell to the floor.
Yeah, well, it's back now, and now I can see you vertical. It's like properly there. So yeah, there we go. It was like we had it for some reason. The screen was stuck on portrait.
Matt was on his side. Yeah,
we were both on our sides, and now we're correct.
Yeah,
you can't see that obviously because you're only listening to this.
I might put this up now. I'll put the picture of us up now, Matt. So do like a nice thumbs up. There we are.
Hello.
Now you can see us. And now I'll just go back to putting random pictures in front of the audio.
Anyway, spoiler alert, massive spoiler alert. And if you weren't alerted by me saying spoiler, and then knocking my camera over, Luke Skywalker dies in The Last Jedi. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But yeah, he dies.
That's nuts.
And calling this the Rise of Skywalker, because there are no more. I mean, there's only technically one Skywalker left.
No, isn't it the last
And that's-
Skywalker? This one's called.
No, the Rise of the Skywalker.
Oh, okay.
Rise of Skywalker. Rise of
right.
Skywalker. Yeah.
It was something with Skywalker in it.
Yeah, something with Skywalker and Rise. I think it's Rise of Skywalker. So this guy, so he's dead. He's not in the movie.
Okay.
So that's a purposefully ambiguous title.
Yeah.
Is he coming back to life? Who is the Skywalker? Is Rey the Skywalker? Is Rey a Skywalker?
Yeah.
What's going on? And it's there just to go fan theory, fan theory, fan theory. Like, that's the only reason they've done it, basically.
Okay. Yeah.
To just bait people.
Yeah.
But
baiting them sounds like a terrible idea. A terrible, idea to just piss people off.
To be honest, well, I mean, The Last Jedi pissed a lot of people off.
Yeah.
And I don't see how they could have. I don't see how making that movie. I don't see how they could have thought people are going to love this.
Yeah,
this is going to be brilliant.
They're going to fucking love this.
Consume
our media, you stupid
you haven't seen
bastards.
This movie, right? You haven't seen it.
Me?
Yeah, you haven't seen The Last Jedi, right?
No, haven't seen it.
Okay, right. So the arguments against that have been, well, the most compelling arguments really that it's objectively bad. I mean, yeah, that it's objectively bad. And we'll step into the film here, because I think this is slightly more clear cut. The arguments that that's objectively bad are that the characters are very inconsistent.
Okay.
The story is inconsistent with itself. It breaks rules that were set up by the universe. Things happen purely for the sake of politics and not for any reason beyond that, like an in-universe reason.
Okay.
Those are the arguments that are put forth. And I would agree with most of those. I think that the characters are inconsistent. Because this is the thing about it's the 8th movie in a series.
Yeah.
So your characters are pretty well set up. Some of them, anyway, are pretty well set up. And character-wise, it is a bit inconsistent. In fact, I would say, particularly with Luke, it's very inconsistent.
Okay.
Story-wise, it does contradict itself a bit. In some places.
Okay.
But here's the thing, and it's not a movie I like. I don't like The Last Jedi.
Okay.
But I wouldn't call it. And I guess this is sort of the meat. I don't know if I would call it objectively bad. Because bits of it are great.
If we put it to our our 4 qualifiers for objectivity and being good or being bad.
Okay.
And let's
do that.
Let's assume that the creator of it, well, as long as they satisfy one of these, because we would imagine that they would like to satisfy all of these, then it can or cannot be objectively good or bad. Okay, so the first one was that art is there to communicate an idea. So in a literary sense, it would be to communicate the story, wouldn't it?
Yes.
In a piece of literature, in a story, that's the idea you're communicating. The core idea, like the moral behind your story, it's communicating that through a book or a film or a TV show or something like that. This is what we want to give you. This is the idea. We're communicating it that way. So
communicating the story and communicating the theme of the story. Yes.
Yeah. So this is good because Matt's a writer, for everyone who doesn't know. Matt writes books. So I can So this is one of the few things he can talk to with any form of experience. Everything else of this podcast is going to be nonsense between the two of us, but this is the one thing that he's got.
Yeah, so, this is the one thing that I can talk about with slightly less nonsense. Yeah.
So they have to communicate an idea, and that's one of the arguments against it, right? That they didn't. It was inconsistent.
Right.
Is it as good or?
So it communicates. So there's a point where it communicates the idea of it directly. And the idea of it is that failure is the best teacher.
Okay. I dig that message.
Yeah, no, it's a good message. It's a really good message.
Yeah.
The problem is it does not bear out in the entire movie.
Okay.
Like people fail, absolutely, people fail. But some people fail, some people don't even fail.
Okay.
They sort of meander along.
Do they learn?
In a roundabout way.
Okay.
In a roundabout way, they do learn.
Okay.
But the lesson doesn't really make sense.
No.
So the character. So there's a character called Poe, who's like a pilot.
Oh yeah.
Hotshot fighter ace.
Classic.
And he gets
cliche.
Right. Yeah. And he gets what I would call a massive win in the opening of the movie, where he absolutely it's a Pyrrhic victory.
Right. Okay.
But there's this thing. It's classic Star Wars. There's a giant thing with big lasers on it that can blow up a lot of stuff.
Have they done it again?
Yeah, but they did it in a smaller scale this time. It was called the Dreadnought.
Okay, so they went big, bigger, biggest, back to small.
Tiny.
Okay, right. Okay.
Yeah. So So he flies in. So there's a plan in place here, where a bunch of bombers go in and they blow this thing up. But they blow it up, but they lose all the bombers. Like every bomber gets destroyed. All these people die, but this thing gets destroyed. This thing that could basically blow up their fleet. Like a minute after, if they failed, they would have all died. Basically, and the movie would have been over.
Okay.
So you'd think, wow, that's brilliant. He won. He destroyed this thing. He saved the fleet. And then very next scene, Leia slaps him, demotes him, because
he's he's a maverick, but he gets results.
Well, he's a maverick. He's a maverick, and he got results, but he gets demoted. The trade-off of lives here. I mean, this is a fleet killer that he blew up.
Yeah.
And they lost a bunch of bombers that weren't even very good, but we won't get into that. The trade-off here is massive. They've destroyed a super weapon, essentially. But he gets demoted and he gets kind of shit on for the rest of the movie for doing that.
Okay.
And the lesson he has to learn, because he didn't fail. In that instance, he didn't fail. But what he basically has to learn for the rest of the movie is to blindly follow authority.
Okay.
Which is a horrible message.
Yeah.
And it's counter, like failure is the best. That doesn't go with failure is the best teacher.
No, that says authority is the best teacher.
Yes, exactly.
People in power know best. So shut your fucking mouth and listen to what the feds say.
Exactly. It sends the wrong message entirely.
Okay.
The only reason people would know that that's the theme is that they bring Yoda into the ghost of Yoda into the movie.
Shut up.
And who directly says the theme. He literally said it's almost like Yoda turns to the screen.
Yeah.
And goes, "The best teacher failure is understand."
Yeah.
Understand? It's just like, oh,
it's just hitting you over the head with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So
first qualifier, it's not done it.
No, I
it's
don't
not communicated an idea effectively. Second one, to create a sense of beauty. That's probably easier for a cinematic marvel such as Star Wars with a lot of money behind it.
Yes, I would say yes. It's lovely to look at.
It's visually stunning.
It's visually marvelous. Yes.
Yeah.
I would say that yes, it achieves that. They have a lot of money. Yes, it achieves that. That's the only, and it's like this. One of the better things about it is like the visual stuff and the cinematography and the effects and some of the imagery is really nice. Like it's a good looking movie, so I can't say it's. But then again, Lee, beauty is beauty subjective?
Wow, I wrote a paper on this, and that would be a whole other topic. I'd say largely no. I reckon beauty is objective.
Okay, interesting. That's another topic entirely. We'll get into that.
We'll get into that another time. That's philosophy right there. That's the pursuit of aesthetics, and that's a whole branch of philosophy. So,
all right. Well, we'll get into that another time, I suppose, if it's huge. But yeah, based on my reading of it, I mean, the visuals are nice. They achieve what they set out to achieve. In that they create the imagery and they tell the story in some cases. So yeah, I'm happy with the visuals.
Okay. So third one, to explore the nature of perception. Harder to do that, I guess, with a film.
Now, it is still kind of early for me and the coffee hasn't completely kicked in.
Yeah.
So, so can you elaborate on that ever so slightly?
So to explore the nature of perception. So yeah, it's harder to do that with a film, I guess, because with art, the nature of perception is to deal with the senses and how we see the world. I guess that's an easy way to put it. That's a very simplistic and how we see the world. Because all art and things like that, it comes from a viewpoint of an individual, doesn't it? Generally, if one person makes a thing. So seeing the world through their eyes and communicating that effectively, I guess. So, okay, so which is more difficult with a film because you don't have an individual behind that.
In this case, it's a bit clearer because the same guy who wrote it directed it.
Okay, so, but then the only thing I would say
Disney
is that you have money behind it, and you have other people saying what you have to do with that perspective. So
yeah,
I guess we would have to use the director in this case as the, in quotes, artist of the film, and whether their vision has been communicated effectively through that piece of art.
Well, people tend to focus on that director and writer, and they tend to focus on Kathleen Kennedy, who's the head of Lucasfilm, so the studio head, essentially.
Okay. Okay, so let's focus on them as well. Were their viewpoints, were their points of view on the world communicate? Well, not even the point of their world that they're trying to create, was that communicated effectively?
Absolutely.
Okay.
For good and for bad, absolutely. Ryan Johnson, who's the writer-director, his big thing is subverting expectations.
Okay.
And the movie did that.
Okay.
For good and for bad, the movie did that. So, and I'm using things like good and bad.
Well, yeah, but that's fine. As long as he's done it, it doesn't matter what anyone else says, because that's subjectivity. So they can't be talking about objectivity because it's their personal opinion at that point. So we've got 2-1 at the moment. We've got 2-1. So,
right.
Third one was to generate strong emotions. Well, straight up, people thought it was shit. So
it's done that.
People thought it was shit.
That. People thought it was fucking horrible. Yeah.
Although
but I
But
don't
they
know
weren't
if
trying
that's
to
the
communicate.
emotion.
Yeah, they weren't trying to communicate that emotion, were they?
Well, I mean, they did it in half of the people who like it, because it tracked about 50-50, I think.
Okay.
So half the people who watched it absolutely loved it and got everything from it, and they were like, "Ugh, yes."
Uh-huh.
And then half the people went, "No, this is awful."
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very polarizing. It's a
Mm-hmm.
very polarizing film. So yeah, I think it did that. Okay, so here's the thing, because so 3-1, you'd say it's not objectively bad.
No.
So of those 4 categories, based on those 4 categories, right?
Mm-hmm.
So based on those 4 categories, which of those categories is the most important?
And I would imagine it would have to be what is most important to the person writing it, which then puts us in a bit of a quandary.
And the person watching.
Yeah. So we have communicating ideas is a key point of any kind of narrative. Communicating what your story is about and what the theme is and everything like that. It didn't do that, apparently. So that's a bit bad. That's very bad, actually. But also films like Star Wars and all of these big blockbuster movies, they have to create a sense of beauty now, like to be visually stunning. And if it's done that, then that's important. The nature of perception, I guess I would probably say that's more to do with classic art forms. Where you have a single person behind that, because I don't think you can do that with like a hive mind of studio executives and creative people. There's going to be no real singular vision behind that. People are going to, fall in line and take the majority view at some point. So there will be one view behind it, but it's not necessarily going to be a singular perspective behind that. And stories, I would imagine you have to create strong emotions. I mean, when I was, did media production at university and I like making films, I wanted to make people laugh and I wanted to make people cry. That was like a deal breaker for me for any project that I was on. If my piece of work did not make someone laugh or cry, then I failed,
Yeah. That's high. That's some high standards. But there's another wrinkle here. There's another wrinkle, because I mentioned that it was that it's very polarizing, and it seemed like half the people love it, half the people hate it. There is footage of Rian Johnson, the writer-director, talking about making movies. Not talking about making The Last Jedi, but talking about making movies where he says, "I want to make a movie that half the people love it and half the people hate it." So maybe this is exactly what he intended.
So then, in that respect, if we take him as one half of the artist duo, he's generated a strong emotion and exactly the emotions that he wanted to do. If that's
potentially. However, we have to bring the studio back into this and say, if the studio hired him based on that and based on that kind of vision, they're really dumb when they've got like a multi-billion-dollar franchise to kind of manage. That's a really stupid idea to go, let's bring in this guy who's going to alienate half
of the people. Yeah.
So I think maybe we can perhaps argue that he intended that, but you can definitely argue that Disney didn't. Are you still there, sir?
Yeah, I'm still here. But okay, I mean, cool. Is it that bad of an idea? Because if it becomes that polarizing, and we're in a world where polarizing is the basic way that everything goes now. Everything has to be black or white and good and bad and stuff like that. It made $2 billion at the box office. Oh no, that was The Force Awakens.
That was The Force Awakens. This one still made $1 billion, maybe.
This one made 1.3. It made 1.3 billion with a budget of up to 317. So the budget was more for this one, and it made less. So it wasn't as financially successful, but still fucking worked, So they haven't.
It worked in the short term because Solo failed. Like the one that followed up failed miserably, and I don't know how. I think episode 9 will do okay. I think it'll recoup because it's because they basically said it's the last one in the Skywalker, what they're calling the Skywalker saga.
Right.
So I think people will just be sort of morbidly curious as to how it ends. So I think that will make a fair bit. I don't know if it will make. I don't care, to be quite frank. I'm not going to watch it.
Yeah.
But at least I'm not going to watch it willingly. But I think it will. It would surprise me if it made more than The Last Jedi. It would surprise me. Unless it is genuinely a good movie. But the other problem, and this is something that we didn't actually factor in, which we probably should have. This is a series of films that's supposed to carry on what came before and have threads leading forward. Now, there are a lot of threads from numbers. I mean, there were threads from the original 4, 5, and 6 that weren't picked up that are being sort of countered, actually. There are a multitude of threads from 7 that Rian Johnson seemed to just kind of throw away. And going into 9, there's really not a lot. There's not a lot they can do to carry it on.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that's just my limited brain. Maybe I'm just going like, oh, I don't know. I don't know what they could do here.
Yeah. But I mean, it depends how clever they are, you know, like to go to like another visual masterpiece, Game of Thrones, you know, the 3rd episode came out on Monday.
Yeah, it did.
And have you watched it?
Yes.
That was incredible. I loved that.
I disagree.
Oh, well, fantastic. Next point then. But before that, some of the threads took like 6 seasons to come in. Like the big thing that happened, the final thing.
Yes.
That was prophesized ages ago. We were told that ages ago.
Were we?
Yeah. The
big final thing.
Yeah. So we'll be back in a second. I'm going to tell Matt what this is. When the witch said, you're going to, like, I see darkness in you. You're going to kill brown eyes, green eyes, blue eyes, shut forever. The blue eyes is him.
Ah, true. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
And now we're back. I've told Matt the big thing.
So they did foreshadow it then. Well, they foreshadowed the thing that here's the thing. That part of it, I don't mind. That part of it is okay for me.
Yeah.
That people hate that. People really hate it. I don't mind it necessarily because they did foreshadow it. Yeah. They foreshadowed a lot of it. Yeah. They foreshadowed that like the thing she does when she drops the knife.
Yeah.
And like grabs it. They foreshadowed that in the last series.
Yeah.
We know she can move quietly.
Yeah.
Although,
like,
it's the execution of it.
Her whole story arc would be for naught if she didn't do that.
I don't know if I agree with that necessarily, but I would say because she could have offed any of the White Walkers rather than the big cheese. Like, spoiler alert! Oh God, spoiler alert!
I'm just probably going to cut out this 10 minutes. I'm just probably going to cut out this 10 minutes because we've completely ruined it 2 days after.
What we should do, like put like a little thing, and go. So we're about to spoil episode 3 of Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
please put in an alert.
Please go away until this time.
Yeah, and put in like an alert and a time skip.
Okay.
That'll do it.
So now I'm going to go, and now we're back. But before that, there's going to be a huge spoiler. We're going to speak freely about episode 3. If you haven't seen it, go and see it. Right, so Arya killed the Night King.
Yeah.
That was prophesized in like season 4 when they said that.
3 or 4, yeah.
Hugely ago.
Yeah.
The whole foreshadowing with the knife, as you said, she drops that. That was foreshadowed. It was where the guy actually got stabbed in the first place by the garden children or whatever they're called to like make him.
Was it? I thought it was in the leg. She stabbed him.
Nah, she went.
I'm not entirely
I believe it's here or there. It was like his chest or like his like abdomen, and it was like the same place where they like stabbed him up against the weirwood tree.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and he was not completely against a weirwood tree, but it was near a weirwood tree.
Exactly. Yeah, we've got all of the accoutrements of that story arc coming round to its beginnings.
I think I can respect that, but I don't think they executed it in the best way.
Okay.
I think this was brought up as well, and I kind of agree with it. Like, if she'd have taken the face of a dead thing and snuck up that way, that would have been really cool. But it was a bit Deus Ex Aria.
Yeah.
Where she's just like out of nowhere, blah, and like. Yeah. So, but there were more issues with that episode for me than the ending.
Okay. Tell me.
It was really so it's really dumb in a lot of ways.
Okay.
That cavalry charge at the start was the dumbest thing I have seen in most of the TV I've seen.
Okay.
That was so stupid. I don't know why you've got cavalry when you fight in an army of the dead in the first place. But a cavalry charge, when you've got to defend a waypoint and you've got cavalry and you charge them in, and you know the numbers are huge, that seems really stupid to me.
I would imagine they did that as as an analogy of like good and evil, that they can extinguish the light of good, basically. I think that's why she set the fires alight, and you saw them all go there, and then they all just went, they're done.
Right.
So I think that was a storytelling tool.
But it was really dumb. And it makes no sense at all. But was in full effect when you think about all of the characters in play, and you think about the ones that pop their clogs, and you think about how many of them were on the front line, like right at the front. Yeah. I thought some of them were toast immediately, but no, they really. It was like you got the Night's Watch guys. You've got Sam Tarley on the front line for some reason.
Yeah.
You've got
Sir Brienne
and Podrick and
Sir Brienne, Matt. Sir
Brienne. I apologise.
I was surprised you didn't toast it. Her character arc is done.
I thought she was dead. Like when she's in pain,
she's scary.
She yells it out.
Yeah, she is scary when she's in pain.
Yeah, she got like swarmed several times.
Yeah, but like from the last episode where she got made a knight, I was like, "You're done now, honey. You're done."
Well, they finished her. I thought they'd finished Jamie as well, because his arc.
I would say so. He's had a full redemption arc now. He's gone. He's gone in the next. Well, I would say the episode after this, where the battle actually happens. I would say that's where he's gone.
Well, Podrick as well. But like when you think of who was out, when you think of the characters that were in play, you've got the wildling guy with the big beard.
Yeah.
You've got Sandor Clegane. You've got all of these characters who don't really need to live.
Clegane's got to kill the mountain.
That's true.
To do. He's got one more thing to do. He's got to kill the mountain.
Ariel kill the mountain.
I don't know.
Probably.
I reckon it's going to be him.
Probably.
Right. Next time we meet, I'm a gentleman's bet. A gentleman's bet of a beer.
Okay.
Kills the mountain. You're going to say Arya kills the mountain.
Well, here's the thing. Thematically, this is the thing. Thematically, Sandor should kill the mountain. Thematically, Jon Snow should have killed the Night King, or Daenerys should have killed the Night King. But Arya killed the Night King, right?
Yeah.
So, because I mean, we talk about foreshadowing. They did foreshadow Arya a bit, but they foreshadowed the other two like crazy.
Is that for a shock factor though?
Subverting your expectations.
Yeah. Because I think
it comes down to that slightly.
Reading it, I think they knew that Arya was going to kill him for like 3 seasons. That was going to be the case for like 3 seasons.
Perhaps.
You know, and again,
to me it smacks of a last minute change. It smacks of a last minute woke change. And subverting it. And the other thing about The Last Jedi is that it's brought in this idea of subverting your expectations.
Right.
And a lot of media is doing it.
Mm.
And I think that The Last Jedi, I think that Game of Thrones did it in this case.
Okay.
But they did it better because they had foreshadowed it a bit.
Yeah.
And I don't hate that she did it. I don't hate that it was her who did it. It's other stuff that annoyed me.
Yeah. I loved the episode. It wasn't as good as the Battle of the Bastards, I would say.
No.
That was
the camera work was abysmal.
I couldn't see a lot of it. My TV was terrible for it.
The night is dark. It wasn't your TV.
No.
The night is dark and full of shaky cam.
Yeah.
Like it was just blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Like
it was
what's
really
going on
hard to follow. Yeah.
Yeah. To be honest, I won't know until the next episode who has actually lived and died. I'm not going to know. I have no idea. I know I know a few people have died.
Yeah.
Definitively. Mm-hmm. But I don't know about a whole lot of others.
Well, so you got
is the direwolf dead? I don't know.
I reckon
probably.
I reckon it's the rule of TV. If you don't explicitly see someone die, they're still going. You know, even for a second, like the leader of the Night's Watch, I can't remember his name now, but he died. It was very quick. They couldn't give him sort of like the big send off that they gave everyone. But he got stabbed in the back helping Sam. He's dead.
Oh yeah.
Lady Mormont.
Yeah.
Sweet death ending. That was cool as shit. that
was
fucking brilliant.
Man.
But I cringed when I heard all those cracking bones. That was dirty.
I felt so right. So when the giant burst through the gate
and hit her
and twatted her out of the way,
you laughed.
I burst out laughing.
You laughed. I knew it.
Out laughing. It was just because she's so fucking gobby. She's cool. I love her, but she's like the thing burst through. And she's like, and then just
whelp.
And she was like,
boing.
It made me laugh. But like, it made me laugh, and then like you see the after effect of it, and I was like, oh shit,
yeah,
that fucked her up.
That was,
and then she did something cool.
That was hard. I was like, that was hard to watch. Like,
I thought it was gonna,
like the
I
bones
thought it was gonna bite her head off.
Yeah, I thought she was gonna get eat. I thought she was gonna get T-Rexed. I was like,
oh god, are you gonna?
He's gonna like put her in his mouth. He's gonna chuck her up in the air and just swallow her whole. I was like, this is fucking dirty.
Yeah. Are you gonna bite a child's head off?
Yeah.
I know you'll kill kids. Are you gonna bite a child's head off? Oh no, she did something. She did a cool thing. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then who else have we got? So those two died. Thingy died.
Beric Dondarrion died.
Yeah, I mean his character arc kind of, you know, that.
Yeah,
because of how he died.
Like he should have died a couple of seasons ago.
Because of how he died, I think that made
sense
because he led to the destruction of the Night King by helping Arya leave that small corridor.
Sure.
Quite cool how he died. Like
Melisandre died.
Yep, she did.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, almost messianic. Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool as shit. I like that.
Yeah, she died with her tits out, as per.
You know, classic.
That's her defining characteristic.
Classic.
That she gets naked. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Thingy died as well. Pike, or whatever they called him. I can't remember what his name is.
Pike.
No, he ran with a pike.
Pike.
I mean. The guy from Dragons, like the Dragon Islands or Iron Islands, the Iron Islands.
Yeah. Theon.
Yep, Theon Greyjoy. Yeah. Full redemption arc. He said he was a good man and forgave him, and he's like, "Yay! I can die a good man." Dead.
Yeah. I don't know why in that instance you wouldn't just stand your ground.
Well,
That annoyed me.
it had to, it was kind of like the classic go out in a blaze of glory, wasn't it? I guess.
You can do that while standing your ground.
You probably can. You could have done
That's maybe a nitpick. That's a bit.
Yeah, you could have done a Jon Snow when in the Battle of the Bastards.
That's a nitpick on my part, I think.
Yeah.
And you just stand.
Yeah.
You stand your ground.
But I guess then that
because they've got to get through you to get to Bran.
Yeah, I guess that would have not. Then you wouldn't have been able to see the cool thing where Arya ran past one of the Night Walkers and his hair went like that, and that was cool. And then she jumped and killed him because then they'd all be around him, and it would be harder to pull that up, I guess. But I agree.
Yeah, maybe.
He should have just stayed. He should have just stayed there. It should have been all slow motion. He's just going through them, and then he's getting, like Jorah Mormont. That was a cool death scene. That was a perfect death scene for him.
That was cool, yeah.
That was a perfect death scene for him.
He died
protecting her and, protecting the woman that he loved. That was cool.
Yeah.
And I guess you only had 90 minutes as well. You only had 90 minutes as well. You couldn't give everyone a 2-minute death scene.
True.
Yeah, I guess. There's a lot to put in it.
Yeah, there was a lot to put in. It was very chaotic. Chaotic episode. I don't know. I thought it was kind of dumb. There's a lot of dumb things in it, but I mean, there's a lot of things that happened for the sake of story, as opposed to in a way that would be intellectually satisfying. Now that's another, which kind of brings us back.
Now you can come back.
Now you can come back.
Now you can come back. I'll discuss Endgame. No, kidding.
So there was a debate, a sort of, we'll call it a debate between a couple of people on YouTube. A guy called Just Right and another chap called Mauler.
Okay.
And
are these like
Just Right?
Are they proper personalities, or are they just two dudes on the internet?
I would say they're proper personalities at this point.
Okay.
But there's a Just Right said something that was kind of like, where he said, he kind of doesn't care. I'm paraphrasing here. It's like he doesn't care if something's intellectually satisfying. He just cares about how it makes him feel.
Yeah.
And I think from his perspective, that's fine, I suppose. But I cannot see how he can think that. I mean, it's just kind of an alien idea almost to me. Like, you see, when something happens and it makes zero sense, where you say, okay, well that's not how someone would act logically or illogically. That's just, they've done that purely for the sake of getting this emotion out of you. But it's false. It's a false emotion. Okay, so let's think about that last point a little bit, like about something being intellectually satisfying for the sake of, or intellectually unsatisfying for the sake of creating a false. It's like a jump scare in a horror movie for me. Like, it's very, very easy. It's like the easiest emotion to manipulate, which is why there's so many shit horror movies. Yeah, you can make people go, huh, just by like leaning close and going blah. Like it's the easiest emotion to elicit.
Well, yeah, I mean, you get all of those like hindbrain emotions. You just got to just rattle around the amygdala a little bit and just go, just like grab that a little bit. I mean, that's basically how like advertising works, right? You just get to those core emotions, rattle them around a bit, and then elicit a response from someone.
Yeah.
So when you say intellectually satisfying, what do you mean by that? Because I'm not sure that I agree with you in my current understanding of it.
I would mean that what happens, what you see happen, is something that makes sense either logically or emotionally, illogically. Yeah, emotionally.
Okay. Yeah. So in order to be intellectually satisfying, it has to make sense to you as a person with emotions and feelings and thoughts this needs to make sense in a human perspective. So if if someone's father died in a film, Star Wars 6, that's gonna and elicit an upset response. I'm going to be upset that my father has died, or that someone's father had died, or there's definitely a murder. There's definitely a murderer down in the basement. Don't go down there, but they go down there anyway. That wouldn't be intellectually satisfying because they know that someone's down there, and that will lead to their demise.
Yeah, I suppose. Well, it depends on why they'd be going into the basement. I think it was okay. So it comes down to consistency, I think, between characters. So if a character is acting how they have been proven to act throughout what we've seen before, then they can be, if it's an illogical character, they can do something illogical, and that would be intellectually satisfying. I'm not demanding that everyone be a Vulcan and be like, logic dictates that I don't go into that basement because there is a murderer down there. Like, that's not how human beings are.
Yeah.
If you've got, like, let's say, like, you've got a woman who's terrified, and she's been attacked by a serial killer, and there's the basement. Logically, you wouldn't want to go into the basement, but the little sister who she loves is in the basement with this serial killer, and she can maybe help. So logically, you think, I should get out of here and get help. But every second I don't do that, my sister could be getting stabbed by a maniac. So I'm going down to help. And then you have that split decision there.
Yeah. Okay.
Where either one would make sense.
You want your characters to be consistent and believable to how we see them, how we've been shown them.
Well, they have to be consistent with themselves.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the thing. And that goes with a film as well. Or any story, if it's consistent with itself, then I'm fine with it.
Yeah, that's why that's why we like fantasy and science fiction. As long as the rules are maintained in that world, then we can, we can suspend our disbelief at that point and go, well, they are traveling faster than light, but we know that there's these special unobtainium crystals that allow us to do this. So I'm okay with this. I'm going to continue this.
Or even in this, in a sci-fi setting, if you just go, it's in the future. Yeah. You can get away with a bunch of, you can you don't have to explain.
Fuck your rules. Fuck your rules, science. We're in the future.
Well, it's like, let's say you don't have to necessarily explain how we can travel faster than light if we can do it. And the characters in the story, that's been their life. They know they can go faster than light. And if none of them are engineers, then they're not gonna have the
savvy, are they?
They're not gonna go, well, how can we do this? Like, they're just gonna go, and we did it. So that would be consistent within that. But even in something where, because there are like there's abstract art and there are abstract films where the rules are very, very loose, or maybe even hypothetically that there are no rules. Those can still be, though I wouldn't say those necessarily were bad, because there being no rules is consistent, or there being loose rules is consistent. It's consistent within itself. If you're in like a fantasy, if you're in like a medieval, let's say so let's say there's like a movie set in ancient Egypt, and there's like a war going on between two armies, and then all of a sudden one of the Egyptian foot soldiers has an M16 and starts just going
yeah.
That would yank you out of the movie. It's like immersion. Immersion is what I'm kind of getting into, and suspension of disbelief.
Yeah.
Like people. there's a big thing, obviously, in this post-truth world. There's a big that people rail against rules in fiction because fiction should be loose and creative and lovely, and rules basically allow you to suspend your disbelief in something.
They give you a framework, don't they? They give you a framework in which to suspend your disbelief. This is the frame in which we can suspend our disbelief. Enjoy this.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, and I think it harks back to what we were saying, like at the beginning, the beginning of this with your wibbly wobbly man.
Yeah.
If what you said was that it was a self-portrait of you, and then added all of these other wanky art things to it, as you so eloquently put it, then that would not be consistent with what it actually was for. So that makes it potentially objectively bad. However, if the wanky art things you said were true to yourself and true to that piece of art, then there would be less chance of it being objectively bad. And I would argue that it couldn't be objectively bad if that had been, successfully completed, whichever way you wanted to go down there. If it was to be aesthetically pleasing, if it was to communicate something.
Like we've not even we've not discussed really modern art either.
No,
which is another. I mean, that's a whole other thing in and of itself. Where saying where that almost entirely exists in the subjective. It doesn't exist in the objective almost.
Well, I would still say that our 4 qualifiers for objective good or badness in art would still stand.
Oh, well, let's test that. Let's test it.
Okay, let's find some. Give me a piece of art, a piece of modern art.
The one I immediately think of is the one that our friend Gary looked at I think it was the Tate Modern.
Okay.
We had a trip to the Tate Modern in school. We're going back a few years. It was this giant. He looked at it and immediately went, "That's shit." It was this really big. It was quite a big picture painted entirely grey.
Okay.
It was like a grey picture frame.
Big grey picture, Tate Modern.
Well, it was grey canvas. Big grey canvas. Big grey canvas on the wall.
Was it by?
I don't know much about it.
Was it by Gerhard Richter?
I don't know. This is a few years ago. This is about 12 years ago.
Okay. Okay, then it would have to satisfy the 4 things that we wanted it to do. So if it was to communicate something, so whatever that whatever he wanted to communicate, is it like a dark grey?
Do you have a picture of it?
Right, I'm gonna share the screen.
Can we screen share?
I mean, there's not really much to to show you. That's it.
I think that's it.
Okay.
I think that's the one. Yeah.
Okay. Right. So the display caption is as follows. During the 1970s, Richter produced several groups of grey paintings, attracted to the neutrality and inconspicuousness of the colour. This series followed a set of vibrant colour paintings and has been seen as a reaffirmation of artistic purity. Grey is the epitome of non-statement, he has observed. It does not trigger off feelings or associations. It is neither visible nor invisible. Like no other colour, it is suitable for illustrating nothing. Such observations go hand in hand with the artist's frequently expressed resistance to ideologies of any kind. Right, so we have
TLDR,
a basis. We have a basis.
So TLDR, he painted this thing
to communicate
represent nothing at all.
He did it to communicate nothing. So that we can look at it as objectively good or bad using what he has said there. Great is the epitome of non-statement. So therefore, he is not making a statement with this piece. Okay. So that is that's the first part, the communication part.
Okay.
What is he trying to communicate?
He's not trying to communicate anything.
Exactly.
So he's trying to communicate. Well, that's not true. He's trying to communicate the idea of nothing.
So his idea is that grey represents a non-statement. It doesn't trigger off feelings or associations. It is actually neither visible nor invisible. Like no other color,
Okay.
it is suitable for illustrating nothing. So
I'm not necessarily sure he succeeded in that regard.
I'm not bought on that
because Gary interacted with anger,
yeah,
or reacted with anger, or reacted with not anger but like frustration. It's like, that's not art. It's just grey.
He was quite literally triggered. It triggered an off feeling or association.
Okay, well, however, by that definition,
grey doesn't do that to Gary. It was the painting that did that to Gary.
Yeah.
So if you take the whole sentence, grey is the epitome of non-statement. It does not trigger off feelings or associations. It's not that this picture is the epitome of non-statement. It's grey is the epitome of non-statement. It does not trigger off feelings or associations.
Okay. See, I look at that and go, it's grey, isn't it? Like I don't have, honestly, I don't really see. Here's the thing: am I now coloured by the fact that I've read that and listened to you read it, and I know what he was going for, so now that's in my head?
I mean, if that's what he truly wanted, if he's being consistent with what he actually thinks and not saying wanky art things,
yeah.
If he's being true to this, then we have to take it. We have to take it for what it's worth. I would say. I think we have to give that to the artist at that point, because you're not going to be able to convey
potentially
in this. If he came up to us and was like, "Grey is the epitome of non-statement," and we knew he was bullshitting us, right? If this guy came up to us and was like, "Oh, blah blah blah," and we're like, "You're talking nonsense," in our mind,
well,
that would be
within the context of what I painted before. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, okay, I can see what he's going for. However, not knowing that context previously, and just looking at it, I don't know if it did achieve that. I'm having to. This is the problem. I'm having to kind of try and go back in time to how I felt before I knew that. With in context, I would say, yeah, he probably succeeded. Out of context, I'm not sure.
Is that the artist's responsibility to provide context to you?
Well, I mean, he knows. Well, the context is going to be it's in a gallery.
Yeah. And therefore is doing one of these four things correctly. We can allude from that, can't we? We can glean from it being in a gallery, a good gallery in London. That it has satisfied one of four reasons to be there, unless there's other reasons that we're missing and we've fucked it up. But let's say they go, if you want to give us your art, you've got to do one of these four things. What we're trying to do with it, tick box exercise. If one of them's yes, they'll be like, sweet, we'll put your art up on the wall. So we can assume it's done one of these four things.
Okay. Okay. So on the first, what was the first one again? So the first one, does it get across what it is supposed to?
It's to communicate an idea, and the idea that color is the epitome of non-statement. It does not trigger off feelings or associations. It is actually neither visible nor invisible. Like no other color, it is suitable for illustrating nothing. So that is the idea that he's trying to communicate with that piece of art.
Right.
And let's assume that he's being truthful with that.
I'm going to err on the side that succeeds then.
I would say so.
I think my response to it, I think when I saw it, my response to it was laughing. I was like, yeah. And I think I laughed because it's literally a grey box.
It's absurd. Yeah.
Yeah, it's absurd. And
a big grey box is in the Tate. Yeah.
Yeah. And well, it's in an art gallery, and there's art saying stuff, and then there's a big grey box. And I think it does succeed then in that. So what was the rest?
So the next one is to create a sense of beauty.
It's not supposed to.
No.
It's supposed to be a grey box.
Yeah. So that isn't a question that we need to ask of this picture. So that could be yes or no. It doesn't matter because that's not what is behind this.
It's like NA.
Yeah.
Non-applicable.
Yeah. Non-applicable. Third thing on our tick box, to explore the nature of perception. So what, again, kind of was he true to his vision sort of thing, as we were talking about with Star Wars and everything? I guess we'd have to know more about Gerhard Richter to answer that question, as like what his deal was as an artist.
Based on what we've seen there, well, based on what he's said about it, I would say yes.
Yeah. Or to generate strong emotions. Now, we don't know whether or not he was supposed to generate strong emotions or not. If that was the case, and if those cases were, this is shit, then Gary has succeeded. Like, by Gary saying it was shit, it has been successful. Therefore, objectively good.
The incongruity of it. Yeah, I would agree. I would agree that it succeeds there as well.
So there's no no's, Matt.
There's one more, right?
No, that was the three.
Oh, I thought there were four.
We did communicating an idea. That was a yes.
Yeah.
We did create a sense of beauty. That was NA.
Yeah.
Nature of perception. We'd have to know more about the artist, and probably harking back to the first question, he's done that. And to generate strong emotions, which saying it was shit, he probably has, if that was the reason, but if that was one of the things that he wanted to do with this painting.
I think modern artists know that there are people who are going to have that response.
I reckon if you're behind that kind of that school of thought in art, it's kind of like a prerequisite. Your work has to generate a strong emotion. Again, you're going to want that polarization that the director wanted in Star Wars. I want half the people to think this is shit, and for other people to say that it's good, and them to have a discussion on why.
Right.
I think he succeeded, man. I think objectively it can't be bad.
I think he succeeded. Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. Okay.
So, in answer to your question, art can be objectively bad, and it depends on 4 criteria and what the artist was trying to do.
Okay.
So it can be. I said no, but I think after our enlightening discussion, I think it can be, and it depends on those 4 categories and what the artist wanted to do behind those categories. If they haven't fulfilled what they were meant to do, if they want what they wanted to do with that piece of art, then they have failed, and it is objectively bad.
Ginganguli, we've done it.
Yeah. And then if people think it's good, great. If people think it's bad, great. Then we're getting into subjective territory. But
all right, brilliant.
For objectivity, it depends on what they would say to those 4 questions, and if they have succeeded in that, and if they're not just saying wanky art things.
Right.
And being true to their rules. We'll just say that these are like the rules for the suspension of disbelief, like in sci-fi and science fiction. If those are the rules for art, have they been true to those rules, and have they delivered on what they said they were going to do?
Okay. Right.
Boom. Big talk number 1 done.
Yes. And we have the picture of the grey box. It's going to be on screen.
Yep.
I would imagine.
I'll put it up.
Let us know what you think. Yeah.
Let us know if you think it's subjectively bad or subjectively bad or objectively good. Yeah, get in touch with us.
Absolutely.
Let's continue this big talk conversation, because I like talking about this rather than what the weather's like. So
yes, brilliant.
Next week I'll be asking Matt a question. I don't know what it is. Generally what we're going to do is do it on some current event. If there's been a slow news cycle, then I'll think of something cool that we can talk about.
Yeah.
But thanks for listening for all this time. And
yes, thank you very much.
We'll see you next week.
Indeed. Wherever this goes,
you won't see us.
If you're on yeah. If is it okay, so is this going on YouTube?
I imagine YouTube, I guess, as it's a podcast, it should go on iTunes and other,
sure.
and your preferred podcast like shop thing.
Cool.
We've come into this not knowing,
right.
as is a theme, we've come into this not knowing very much about podcasts. So we'll be learning along the way.
Well,
I guess we'll see you next week.
If we're on YouTube, yeah. Indeed.
Are you going to plug us? Are you going to plug us, Matt?
Week.
You were going to plug us then, weren't you?
Yeah. Well, if we are on YouTube, which we should be, I think. Like it if you liked it. Leave a comment. Go ahead. That's fine. I don't know what the channel name is yet. Subscribe to that.
I guess it's going to be Big Talk. I'm going to put it up.
Probably Big Talk. We're going to start a channel.
The channel is here.
Not done that yet.
The channel's on your screen.
All right. Yes. Well, I mean, if you're watching this, we've started the channel. So subscribe to the channel, please. And thank you very much for listening.
Later. See you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.